Hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about how to build a LinkedIn profile for career success. Alright, so when getting started with your LinkedIn profile, there are a few essential components that you'll want to add in. The first being a professional headshot. Typically, you want to be wearing a professional outfit and have the background be a solid color. This is important because when you're connecting with people and applying to jobs, they want to be able to see the face behind the name. Really, in the same way that you would add a profile picture on any other social media platform like Facebook or Instagram, it's equally as important to have one on LinkedIn. If you do not have a professional headshot, you can get one taken at our career fairs. We always have a LinkedIn photo booth set up so students can take a professional headshot. Next, you want to write a headline that reflects your professional experience, something more than just student at Manhattan College, right? If you have an on-campus job or a leadership role in a club, this is a great example of what to add in. Furthermore, you want to craft a summary statement for yourself. This is essentially a written version of your elevator speech where you capture your professional background and skill set as well as your objective. I also strongly recommend utilizing the LinkedIn Profile Strength feature to assess where gaps exist and fill those in accordingly to help round out the profile. Alright, so delving a little bit deeper into the headline, again, you want to write something that is more than just your major and class year. This information is already captured in the education section of LinkedIn, so you don't want to be repeating yourself in the official headline. If you have a leadership role on campus or a work study position or maybe even a part-time internship, these are some really great examples of how to capture what your involvement looks like outside of being a student and highlight your relevant experience to attract the eyes of a hiring manager or recruiter. So on the left, you can see some strong examples of different headlines and how they are concise, yet give the reader a good idea of your involvements and interests. Alright, so next we're further discussing how to craft an effective summary statement. So it's important to give the reader a bit of an introduction to who you are as a student and as a professional. This typically ranges from 5 to 7 sentences and can include a personal anecdote, but should be rounded out with some relevant details about your experience and involvement. So this statement essentially answers the question of, tell me a little bit more about yourself, by giving the reader insight into not just your major and class year, but also your interests and overall career aspirations. So on the left, you can see a strong example of how the student discusses their experience and involvements while simultaneously displaying their interests and career goals in a concise fashion. Alright, so next, moving on to the profile itself, you want to make sure you fill out your LinkedIn in its entirety. I recommend having a copy of your resume open and handy to use as a reference point when completing each portion of the profile. First, I would focus on the education section by adding in your school, major, and class year, and then any clubs and organizations you're a part of, as well as honor societies, athletics, and any other involvements that you might have on campus. So next, focus on the work experience section and add in any previous summer jobs, work study roles, or internships that you may have held. For each of these, be sure to add in bullet point details of what the roles and responsibilities were, in the same way that you would on a resume, to give the reader a better idea of what skills you have gained. So additionally, there are sections for volunteer experience, projects and publications, and honors and awards, so be sure to fill in these as applicable. You also have the opportunity to add in audio and visual elements to your profile, so if you have any materials associated with a specific experience, it's always a good idea to provide the reader with a visual component as well, really to help paint a better picture for them. At the end of the day, remember that LinkedIn is not a resume and you aren't limited to just a single page. So really feel free to add in all the relevant skills and experience that you may not be able to capture on a single page resume. Alright, so once you have your profile filled out in its entirety, it's important to begin using the platform for what it's there for, and that's to begin connecting with alumni and former colleagues. So one great place to get started is using the Manhattan College alumni page to identify graduates who work in your field and at specific companies that you're targeting. So you can see there's a hyperlink on the right to get to that page, and you can do a search for any alumni by title, keyword, or company. I really recommend using this resource as a sort of preliminary way to begin building your network and connections because you have the shared commonality of having attended Manhattan College with every single one of the people that will come up in this search. Another great place to go is the My Network tab because the profile itself will begin prompting you with other alumni, former colleagues, professors, really anybody that you kind of have a tertiary connection with. And this is another great way to begin building out your network and utilizing the platform. So, after adding some connections, it's also really important to begin maintaining a visible presence on LinkedIn in the same way that you would on any other social media outlet. So, a couple ways to do this. You can like and comment on people's posts, you can share your own thought provoking articles, photos, videos related to your profession, right? You want to make sure that it's, of course, related to your industry and fields that you're interested in. You can also add updates from your professional life. If you've attended a conference or presented at a seminar or something like that, it's always a good idea to highlight that information on your profile itself. You also want to make sure that you maintain your connections by staying on top of your contacts. So again, commenting on their posts, liking their posts, sharing their posts, right? Just to show that you're, generally engaged with what's going on with them and to again maintain a presence on the profile. Another great thing that you can do on LinkedIn is join professional groups, organizations, and also follow hashtags in the same way that you would on Twitter. This is a really great way to stay connected with individuals in your industry, and stay up to date on the current trends in your field. All right, so once your profile is completed and you've begun adding some connections, the other really useful aspect of LinkedIn is the job and internship search tools. So I would recommend beginning by filling out your career interests. This is a section where you actively let recruiters know where you are in the process, what type of roles you're considering, the locations you're considering, and whether you're looking for full-time work, part-time work, or internships. This will help the platform sort of provide you with tailored responses based on the information that you inputted. This is a really great way to begin doing some kind of a general job and internship search, especially if you're not 100% sure of the exact role that you're looking for. You're able to add a couple different fields and industries as well, so if you're not even sure of what kind of titles you're interested in, doing a more generic job search is going to help you kind of broaden your horizons in terms of different opportunities that may exist out there. It's also a good idea to turn on job alerts for specific positions and companies so that you know when they're posting new opportunities, then you can apply to them right away. It's always a good idea as well to do a little bit of research into the positions and the companies before applying to them so that when you are asked for an interview, you have a little bit of that research out of the way and under your belt. Furthermore, while you are conducting a job and internship search on LinkedIn, you can simultaneously be doing company and industry research as well. Almost every company has an official page on LinkedIn, so it's a great idea to check up on them here as well. So on the left, you'll see an example of a company's page, and there are a few important links to take note of. The first being the direct link to the company's website where it says visit website under the icon. This is a great avenue to go down to delve deeper into the company's specific information to help write a cover letter or prepare for an interview. You'll want to look at the pages that talk about the company's culture, their mission, their values, as well as going to their careers page because you will also likely find additional job opportunities than just the ones that are posted on LinkedIn. So on the right, you were able to see if you have any mutual connections that work at this company. These are really excellent resources to reach out to help get firsthand insight into what it's actually like at the company and help bolster your knowledge on them. It's always a good idea to send them an email or try and set up a phone call with these people to ask them a couple specific questions about what the company is actually like and what their experience has been like working for that, just to help bolster your own knowledge. Furthermore, I also recommend clicking through some of the tabs on the left, such as about, life, jobs, people, etc., right? Just to do a little bit more research into the company's current employees and stay up to date on any recent news or publications that they've made. It's always a really good idea in an interview or in a cover letter to show that you're in touch with what's going on with the company currently, just to, show the hiring manager and recruiter that you've been doing a little bit of research on them and that you're taking a genuine interest in what it is that they have going on. So, to summarize, here are some important things to keep in mind when crafting and utilizing your LinkedIn profile. Before anything, you want to make sure that you fill out your profile in its entirety. Ensure that you have a professional photo, an attention grabbing headline, an interesting summary, and that all of your experiences and campus involvements are captured on your page. Okay. Next, it's important to remember that LinkedIn is a search engine, so pay attention to the keywords that will help get your profile noticed by the right people and adjust your profile accordingly. LinkedIn, at the end of the day, is a social media platform. So it's important to, sort of maintain that visible presence by sharing stories, photos, and videos that are relevant to your profession, right? And again, making sure that you're, staying in touch with your contacts and your connections by liking, commenting on their posts, sharing articles, all of those great things to sort of show that you're engaged with the community. LinkedIn is also a job search tool and a place to research companies, right? So make sure that you take advantage of those resources by following companies and following hashtags, staying up to date with their pages so that when you do have an interview coming up, you can utilize these resources accordingly and you'll be ready to rock the interview. All right, that wraps things up. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I recommend sending us an email if you have any further questions.